If anyone comes to me without hating father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. If that's the case, I certainly have a long list of people that I have to hate. My mother and father, Matt, Tony, Danny, Aaron, Melissa, Emily, Sarah, Laura, Nathan, and Maria, and my own life. All of those I am supposed to hate. But obviously Jesus is not asking us to actually hate those that we love. So what is he asking of us? He's using sarcasm, it seems. He does it a lot in the Gospels to get us to notice a contradiction, to wake up, to kind of shake us up a little bit. He's asking us something today in the Gospel, and he's using sarcasm to make that point. When some people read that passage about hating our father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, they take him to mean that literally. And they tell themselves that, well, since I probably do love my parents or my family or my friends or whatever, since I do love those things more than I love Jesus, then I must love them less. That way, Jesus will then rise to the top again, if I love the people around me less. I remember seeing some TV shows maybe 10 or 12 years ago when I was still in high school, and it kind of scarred me. They were Dateline, NBC, and 48 Hours, and all of those kinds of shows. There was a run there where they were focusing on young people who were in college, who had just headed off to school, and people who were kind of cult leaders of various religious cults and so forth, would kind of hit the college campuses. And oftentimes those cults that kind of had a Christian, at least a Christian background behind them, would use this passage and would get the young people to think that they had to actually hate all of the people that they had grown up with and that they had known and that they had loved. And these people, these young college people, would then sometimes head off and join these cults. And so these TV shows would follow the parents as they would travel across the country looking for their children. We sometimes miss what Jesus really intends when he says things in the gospel, and today is no different. What is Jesus asking of us then, if he's not asking us to actually hate our family, our friends, or anything else in this life? I think the thing that gives us a clue to this is a famous quote from Saint Benedict. Now, I grew up in the seminary. I was trained in the seminary by Benedictine monks who take their cue from Saint Benedict. And so this quote was always around me in the seminary, and it's always stuck with me. Saint Benedict says that we are to prefer nothing to the love of Christ. We are to prefer nothing to the love of Christ. And so I think the tough question that Jesus is asking us in today's gospel is, do we prefer anything to the love of Christ? Do we prefer anything? And he's using here as an example our family, but it can mean many other things as well. For example, are we more excited about the fact that this is a holiday weekend as opposed to the fact that we're here at Mass? Are we more interested in the plans that we make for ourselves than ever spending any time in prayer? Are we more interested in watching our favorite television show or enjoying our favorite food or whatever it may be? We can insert an infinite number of things into that equation. And Jesus is asking us to examine that. Where do I rank? Is what Jesus is asking us to think about. And if we find ourselves placing something, preferring something instead of Christ, if we have something that is in the first spot instead of Jesus, we are not being asked to now hate that thing. We're instead asked to think about why we don't love Christ more. We're not to lower our love for people or other things that we find in our lives, things that are good in and of themselves. We're asked to step up our game with regards to how we approach Christ. We are to seek Him, we are to chase Him, and we are to strive after Him, even when it seems that He may be hiding from us. We are to want Him first, and we are to prefer Him to all other things. Some of those things that are in our lives can distract us. They can slow us down when we're on that chase, and they can even get us to stop running in the first place, or to forget what it was and who it is that we are supposed to be chasing. And so the church offers up to us a remedy, not hatred of those things or those people that are in our lives, but one thing that we can do is simple fasting or giving up of those things in the short term. Again, reminding ourselves of what it is that we are after. So may we be a people who are looking for ways to put Christ back in the first spot in our lives. May we be people who prefer nothing to the love of Christ.